Let's go. 2 crab, please.
I've been a chef for over 50 years.
Service.
And I've come to realise that the food we eat tells a story about who we are. So I'm on a mission to find out what we all like to eat today.
Oh, that is good.
From our traditional dishes...
Long live the Yorkshire pudding.
...to those we've made our own.
I mean, that is multifaceted Britain on one page.
I'll meet producers.
There you see a robot. It's picking them.
I find a lot of craft beers too hoppy. Don't know why, but it tastes all right.
Some of our best chefs.
We're picking scurvy grass.
Crikey.
Pretty punchy.
Plus those keeping traditions alive.
We've just got to finish. I have no hope.
I'll see how food brings us together.
Dig in.
Lovely, that sort of hot garlic. Fabuloso.
And from my home in Padstow, I'll bring you great dishes of my own.
Love stuff like this.
So join me as I unearth the stories behind the food we all love to eat today. I've reached the northernmost point of my food journey around the UK. Beautiful Argyll on the west coast of Scotland. And I've come to this rugged part of the world because I'm fascinated by our growing interest in wild food. And I've heard tell of food producers and chefs here in Argyll doing really interesting things with a natural larder on their doorstep.
To me, Argyll in Scotland is something of an undiscovered foodie destination. Its bountiful coastline consists of fingers of land jutting out into the sea, which makes it a little inaccessible unless you travel by ferry or take the long way round. But to those in the know, it's a mystical and magical foodie heaven.
Argyll encompasses a chunk of the Scottish mainland north of Glasgow and 23 inhabited islands. It's dotted with over 60 castles, including the magnificent Inverary Castle. And its coastline is studded with sea lochs, whose watery depths harbour the most amazing seafood. I've come to Holy Loch, where I'm thrilled to join Mary Galloway and Alistair Mackay.
Hello, I'll get on board first.
Nice to meet you.
Mary,
Yes, pleased to meet you.
As they set off on their creel fishing boat
let's go.
Let's do it.
to catch some local langoustines. And what a beautiful day it is to be out on the water. Before they reached the spot where they sank 50 creel pots 2 days ago, Mary's preparing salted herring as bait for their next round of fishing. Creel pots, in case you're wondering, are basket-like traps designed to catch seafood live. And this method is one of the most sustainable ways to fish for langoustines. Mary and Alistair have worked this boat for 8 years, ever since Mary gave up her job as a teacher.
I was a PE teacher for 30 years.
Why switch from teaching?
I'd always said to myself at 50 I was going to change my job. It was just the pure enjoyment of being out on the water. I mean, it's so peaceful. If you leave the house with a problem, by the time you've been out here for half an hour, you don't have a problem. And if you do have a problem, you've got about 12 hours to sort it out in your head. It is an amazing therapy. Who would swap this for town?
It's time to haul in the pots and find out what's in them. I always enjoy the sense of anticipation before the first pot breaks the surface. The langoustines are packed into special trays to keep them alive.
There's a lot of langoustine coming up, but it's amazing the amount of bycatch they're throwing back. All the young langoustine are going back to let them get a bit bigger, which is really good.
That prawn's just recently moulted.
Yeah.
But to keep that and to sell it would be no good because the meat in the tail would be very, very soft.
Yeah.
So we throw them back.
Great conservation, really. Just letting them go back and grow.
Yeah.
Just wondered, what are the stocks like?
Very healthy.
The amount is immense. Every year it surprises you and shocks you.
You have a good period of fishing, which is usually in the summer months.
Yeah.
And in the winter months, when the water's a lot colder, the fishing slows down. But there's still enough there to make a good living at.
It's so heartening to hear fisherfolk talk of plentiful fish. But I'm disappointed to hear that Mary and Alistair sell most of this wonderful catch outside of the UK.
The main market for our stuff's in Spain. 95% of what we catch goes there.
I get depressed when I hear that because people in Spain and France are prepared to pay the price for the greatest langoustine, which is what you're catching in the greatest waters.
With all respect, I think it's... people don't eat as healthily here.
Do you sell any locally?
Yeah, there's quite a few restaurants
Yeah.
locally. And then there's a fishmonger in Edinburgh and one in Glasgow. We meet everybody face to face and hand them over the stuff, you know.
Oh.
Everything we do goes live.
Before we head to shore, Mary sends the freshly baited creel pots back to the bottom of the loch.
Well, I must say I've really enjoyed watching Ali and Mary work. They clearly love what they're doing. But also, I'm quite optimistic because I think the stocks are very healthy. Eat more langoustine. They're delicious. I don't know whether you've ever thought about selling them further afield in Glasgow, like Cornwall.
I'm sure it could be arranged.
I want to encourage more of you to eat Scottish langoustines. And because it's the Spanish who snap up Mary and Ali's catch and really know how to cook with it, I'm making arroz roja, or red rice, with pan-fried langoustines and haddock.
It's a bit like a paella rice, the same sort of process, but it's really all about the stock. And in this case, the stock is coming from the langoustine shells. So the first thing to do is to pull the tail off, then crack them.
The temptation is to throw away the shells, but you're going to need them later. Once you've extracted the meat, which you can also do by cutting down the middle, you need to bash the shells about a bit, being careful of your fingers, of course. As you can see, I'm talking from experience.
Now I'm just going to chop the heads up too. There's a lot of flavour inside the langoustines head. It's called tomali.
Right, here's how to make a super tasty shellfish stock.
So I'm just going to add some olive oil now. Some onions, carrots, celery.
Also, some tomato puree, as well as fresh tomatoes.
A herb which I think goes really well with shellfish stock is tarragon.
Then some white wine for a bit of acidity, and some fish stock.
And quite a lot. It's about a litre of fish stock.
You can get fish stock in most supermarkets, of course, but it's also worth checking if your fishmonger makes it. After 40 minutes on a low simmer, it should be about done.
So I'm now going to strain that through a sieve. Just push as much as I can through there. So there's my beautiful arroz roja stock, and then the final rice dish. Let's go.
To some olive oil, add onions and a hefty amount of garlic. 4 cloves, in fact.
Ooh, that smells good.
Some dried chili flakes and some pimenton.
Smoky paprika. Yum.
Some more tomato puree and more chopped tomatoes.
Now the rice. This is Calaspara paella rice.
The great thing about Calaspara rice, which is from Murcia in Spain, is that it absorbs 2.5 times its weight in liquid, so it'll really show off my great stock. I should have added my chopped red pepper earlier, but no harm done. Bring the rice to a simmer Then pan fry the haddock and langoustines, just very simply with olive oil and seasoning.
So I'm watching over the arroz roja, and of course I'm very tempted to stir it, but that's an absolute no-no with Spanish dishes like this, because once you stir it, you lose that look of all the grains being separately visible. So all I'm doing is just moving the pan around a bit so that the heat is distributed uniformly.
Once the fish is ready and the rice has absorbed the stock, lay the haddock and those beautiful langoustines on top with a sprinkle of parsley, then dig in.
Well, I have to say I'm very happy with this arroz roja and the langoustine. It's lovely. And the stock is superb. There's an expression in Australian called big noting yourself, and I have to big note myself. I have to say this is very nicely cooked. You do need a bit of alioli. It's a real pleasure of mine with Spanish rice dishes. It's a garlic mayonnaise, of course. Just adds that little bit of pizzazz to the dish.
In Argyll, I'm winding along the shoreline of Holy Loch, whose waters stretch down to the Firth of Clyde, eventually leading to Glasgow. And I'm paying a visit to one of Scotland's most intriguing religious sites. Kilman Church was built in the 1840s on a spot which 1,000 years ago was home to a Celtic monastery. And within its medieval churchyard lies Elizabeth Blackwell, the first woman named on the British Medical Register as a doctor. But there's something else more macabre here, which I find particularly fascinating.
This is a mort safe, and it was to prevent body snatching. It's built out of iron, so it's so heavy that the only way you could lift it off the coffin was with lifting equipment. The reason why Kilmun Church was so popular with body snatchers was because it's right on the Clyde, and the thieves could come in by boat, take the bodies and go, but not after the mort safe was in position.
Lucky for me, I've been granted access to the church's legendary mausoleum, which houses memorials to the dukes and earls of Argyll's past, who belonged to one of Scotland's most powerful clans, the Campbells. Sir Duncan Campbell founded Kilmun Church and was the first clan chief to be buried here. He was once held captive by a suspicious King James I for associating with enemies to the Scottish crown. As I entered the church, with its magnificent stained glass windows, I'm met by a wonderful sound. Coming from the century-old church organ, with organist Philip Norris tickling the ivories.
Philip.
Yes, good morning.
I just wondered what's so special about this organ?
Well, it's powered by water, which powers the bellows, but also it powers the action of the organ. And as far as I know, there's only 2 left in Scotland.
Well, I just wondered if you could play something.
Shall I play this piece here?
What is it?
Ye banks and braes of Bonnie Doon.
How can ye bloom so fresh and fair, and I so weary, full of care?
As Philip plays, sound is being created by the weight of water pushing air through the organ's pipes. And this tune is a famous one, often accompanied by the words of Scottish poet Robert Burns, which tell of a woman looking to nature in a moment of heartbreak. And it's the beauty and bounty of this landscape that are at the heart, too, of the next food story I want to tell you about a restaurant on Loch Fyne, which draws inspiration from the stunning wilderness around it.
One of the things I'm keen to celebrate on this trip is sustainable gastronomy. An Inver restaurant has been awarded Scotland's only green Michelin star, which recognises excellence in just that, sustainable local food.
Owner and chef Pam Brunton is often found foraging on the shoreline for goodies to put on her menu.
Hello.
Greg, hello.
Pam,
Nice to see you.
You're gathering.
We're picking some scurvy grass. Do you want to try a bit?
Doesn't sound very.
No, it doesn't sound. I don't think it gives you scurvy.
No, it probably relieves you of scurvy
I
on
think
board a
it's
ship.
very high in vitamin C. So,
Crikey.
pretty punchy.
Punchy.
It's a very bitter horseradishy.
I'd have said it's poisonous, but I mean it's
Small
quite good.
amounts with a rich fatty meat and some creamy cheesy beans.
Well, can we get in the kitchen? It's a bit chilly out here.
So of course it is. It's Scotland in May, Rick.
Pam's dishes are all based around ingredients she can gather or grow herself or source from local suppliers. She's going to make me one of her favourites, roast neck of lamb with wild herb salad and creamed cannellini beans, topped with ewe's milk cheese.
This is from a nearby island, the Isle of Bute. The animals are herdwicks, so wild that sometimes the farmer can't find them.
As we always say in this line of business, they're so wild, they're furious.
Pam starts by brushing the meat with a warm honey and cider vinegar glaze.
You gotta be very careful with it though. A bee will produce less than a teaspoon of honey in its entire life.
Oh, poor things.
I think
All
of that
work.
every time I'm using honey.
Well,
it's a very
it's
precious
part of
ingredient.
that whole sustainable ethos, really.
Exactly. Respect and understanding of the ingredient and,
Right.
and what goes into producing it in the first place.
Quite right.
Next, she char grills the meat to render the fat and caramelise the glaze. And she's gathered a wonderful array of wild morsels for her salad.
Everything picked outside the restaurant from the coast and the hedgerows.
That looks lovely. That's some sort of cabbage, I guess.
Yep, this is sea broccoli.
OK,
It's
that
just
looks
starting to
like
flower.
elderflower, but probably isn't, because it's a bit early in the year in Scotland, I would suggest.
Sweet Cicely.
Ah, yeah, of course, early herb.
And this one
that-
here is cuckoo flower or lady smock.
Cuckoo flower,
Yeah.
God, how sweet.
It tastes a bit like watercress.
The sea broccoli goes onto the char grill. If you've never tried this scrumptious wild vegetable, it can be easily gathered on many of the UK's coastlines. Pam then puts some pine sprigs on the grill and steeps the lamb in the aromatic smoke. The slow-cooked beans are made extra creamy with loads of butter, which she makes herself, and local ewe's milk cheese. Then it's finished off with a squeeze of lemon.
I suppose this is quite affordable, this dish.
Yeah, it's the brilliant thing about it. I
Yeah.
mean, the salad is free. The neck is one of the cheaper cuts of a lamb. And then beans are another very cheap ingredient.
Pam finishes off the meat with a coating of brown butter, then plenty of salt. To serve, she drizzles on a red wine sauce she made with the lamb juices and places a generous handful of her salad on top. I'm so looking forward to tasting this beautiful food.
Here it comes.
Greg, this is my partner, Rob. Partner in life and
nice to
work.
meet
He takes care of...
Anything and everything.
All the front of house.
I also pour wine.
Oh,
look
yes,
at
look at that.
Coming
Gosh.
right off the bone there.
Oh, that's very lovely. And that meat is so tender. It's got a smoky flavour, but
Yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
It's not excessive. And the salad too. That is so good.
Thank you.
Formidable. You got this Michelin Green Star. What are they looking for then in terms of sustainability?
Our very close connection to the natural environment. So if you look out the window there, you can see the
Can't
hillsides.
stop looking out of the window.
Yeah,
'cause it's
you
just-
see the hills and the forests and the water, which is where we get all of our produce. So it becomes very important to us to maintain it for all of the people who are our neighbours.
What do you think they feel about having a restaurant like this in their midst?
One of the nicest nights we've had at Inver is we looked out into the dining room and realised that almost everybody who was sitting there had contributed something to the meal. So we had like the gardeners who'd obviously brought the vegetables, we had the guy who'd farmed the lamb, even one of the scallop divers was in. It felt quite humbling.
Yeah,
if
no,
I'm
I
honest.
can see that, because
Yeah.
you've got to be part of the community, haven't you?
Yeah, well, cheers to that, Rick.
Cheers.
Pleasure having you. Thank you for coming
power
all
to
this
you.
way.
Cheers.
It's the next day, and I'm off to the Isle of Bute, one of Argyll's bigger islands. I suppose the reason not many people visit this region these days is you have to hop on and off lots of boats to get around. But I absolutely love this sort of slow travel, and everywhere you look, you get to drink in those memorable views. The Isle of Bute used to attract crowds of visitors back in the 1900s, and in its main town, Rothsay, you can see remnants of the island's heyday as a holiday destination. Where I'm going is legendary in these parts, because Alistair McFadden, head smoker here at the Isle of Bute Smokehouse, makes the most delectable smoked Scottish salmon.
I just wondered if I could try a bit, actually.
Sure, I've got some here we did this morning.
It looks wonderful. Really deep colour. Look at that. Is that cut? What do you call it then?
This is in between a D cut and a long cut. Most of our customers prefer this.
Thank you very much. Delicious. Smoky, salty, but not too salty. Bit of sweetness in there. Well, is there any chance of having a look round, maybe?
Sure, yeah, no problem.
Do you mind if I just finish this?
No.
I'm very keen to see Alistair's smokehouse, which must be the oldest I've ever been to.
My gosh. That is amazing, Alistair. Got a smell. Unbelievable. I mean, how long has this been like this for, then?
Started in 1888.
It hasn't been touched for all that time?
No, all that tar is built up over the years.
You mean the environmental health people haven't asked you to clean it all? You know, I've been through a modern smokery controlled by computers and dials and everything, and just coming in here, you can sort of feel the history of the Isle of Bute in this fantastic kiln.
Aye.
Alistair's method for making whisky smoked salmon begins with him dry curing the fillets in rock salt and demerara sugar. Then the salmon fillets are hung on racks and carefully placed high up in the kiln. Next, Alistair lays down piles of sawdust with large shavings on top, and the smoking process begins. This is the method called cold smoking, which keeps the fire's temperature low enough to smoke the salmon without cooking it. And the special thing about the sawdust is that it's made from old recycled whiskey barrels.
Did you think it affects the flavour of the salmon?
Yeah, you can smell the smoke already.
Yeah.
The flames will die down shortly,
yeah.
and then it'll just smoulder away all night.
What I really like is that Alistair's got such skill. I mean, he's judging exactly the right amount of smoke to get the right heat and where the shavings go to get everything to start smoking. It's just when you're sort of eating something like smoked salmon, which I adore, the thought of it being produced in a place like this just makes it taste better. Just wondering how long I'll be able to stay in here.
I think we better leave.
As I say goodbye to Alistair, he kindly gives me some smoked salmon to take away. Because back in Padstow, I've got an idea to make a dish which will showcase this great fish. The Tattie Scone, made with a simple potato dough, is a true Scottish delight, and I'll serve it with a root vegetable salad and a slice of Alistair's smoked salmon on top.
Now, the thing about Tattie Scones, you need to make them with freshly made mashed potato when it's hot or warm, not sort of yesterday's leftover. And the reason for that is when it's hot, it makes a lovely, floppy, soft bread. So I'm using a ricer because I want a really smooth potato.
A potato ricer is a great gadget to have to hand. It makes short work of producing lump-free mash. Add some self-raising flour and a good chunk of butter. You can use milk in place of butter if you want a less rich tatty scone. Then season with some salt and pepper.
And in my case, I'm just going to add some spring onions, very finely chopped. So I just want that sort of slightly oniony flavour in the bread to go with my smoked salmon.
Tattie scones are also called totties, or in Ireland they're called potato farls or fadges. They're superb with a fried breakfast. Once you've formed your dough, adding a little water if you need to, flatten it down on your chopping board.
It's already feeling lovely and light and floppy. I'm just going to use a side plate just to take a bit round the edges, just to make it as neat and tidy as ever I can make anything. I'm just not the neatest and tidiest of chefs. But that looks quite nice. Just cut that into 4 quarters.
Put your quarters in a frying pan and brown them on both sides for 3 to 4 minutes.
I love using just a steel pan. I'm not as keen on non-stick because I just like seasoning my own pans, and that just means baking a surface of oil on it and then just pour all the oil out, and what's left in there will actually harden and form a coating which is pretty non-stick.
To make a quick and tasty root veg salad, finely slice a bulb of fennel and do the same with some radishes and a peeled beetroot. Then throw in some chopped dill, cider vinegar, soft brown sugar, salt and freshly ground black pepper. Finish with a glug of olive oil. I'm serving my still warm tatty scones dressed with the root veg salad, a scoop of creme fraiche combined with creamed horseradish, and finally the crowning glory all the way from Argyll.
Well, there it is. I hope I've done justice to Alistair's superb smoked salmon.
As I leave Argyll, by ferry of course, I'm feeling heartened by how good the food is in this beautiful part of the world. I urge you to make a visit. You'll be so glad you did. If you'd like to see more episodes of Rick Stein's Food Stories, press the red button now to watch on BBC iPlayer. Next time, I'm in Lincolnshire, meeting James Dyson.
Down there you can see a robot.
Oh, I see. Here it is, actually.
It's picking them.
I'm getting a bit excited now. Very summery sweet, I think. Did you ever do that when you were a kid? I'll probably taste another of these, and I'd say it's not as good as Rachel's.
You are a charmer, definitely.